Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Figuarts Marvel Avengers Endgame, not really, Iron Man Mark 50 Nano Weapon Set 2. That's a mouthful. I didn't like Nano Set 1. I think the big giant feet and things just look goofy. And honestly, I'm with most people in that this Nano armor is not the most interesting at all, and we'll talk about that very briefly as we go. But this is not really Endgame Iron Man because it's not the one with the gold shoulder pads and not all the goofy stuff that it has. So, and also the one that is Endgame isn't the one either because it doesn't come with the gauntlet. So I'm holding out hope that we're going to get a gold, like classic looking Iron Man with the gauntlet. We'll see, but I don't know if I'll be reviewing the gold shoulder one for now for that reason. But we are going to look at this one, and it's pretty cool. It does some cool stuff and some stuff not so well, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about, wow, almost exactly 16 centimeters, which makes him just about 6¼ inches, and I know what you're thinking. Never mind, I can't make that joke. How does it compare against the other Iron Man figures? Well, here are some of the more popular figures that they have released, and you can see for yourself. Size-wise, it is not necessarily the best situation because some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, and none of them quite make sense. But let's see if I can line them up so you can actually see. So we have the 7, the 4. This is the 4, right? I want to say that's the 4 because it has the round chest. I can't remember, and I haven't been sleeping. And that is the one from Civil War, not Age of Ultron. I can't remember. I think that's 46. God, there have been so many now, and they keep skipping it in between movies. So size-wise, it's kind of like the average of all the other ones. These two are basically the same height. This one's a little bit shorter. This one's in between. As far as proportions go, this one might be the worst. This one's not realistic, but this one might be the worst because his upper body seems overdeveloped compared to his underbody. His underbody, that's a thing. He's a car. All right, we're going to set these guys aside, and we're going to talk about this. So now you can see, I don't know. To me, it's just the nanotech is just so much less interesting and cool looking than the ones that actually look like Iron Man armor. You know? Do you know? Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys a fan of nanotech or more angular designs? I like the other designs better, though I do like the actual Endgame suit. Anyway, aesthetics on this guy, the paint job is superb. It's got that lovely pearly reddish candy apple burgundy color. I like it. I like it a whole lot. The gold on there and the silver all painted really, really nicely. Very well done. Look at his abdominals. Very, very clean paint job. Beautiful. Love it. I love it. And so that's good. And then the eyes and repulsors, and then the little painted spots are all blue. There is a little bit of transparent plastic for the eyes and the chest, so that's a nice touch. I'm not a big fan of the blue, honestly. I prefer the white. Although that's kind of weird, because they paint the blue, and then all of these guys get is just clear plastic, or silver. So I'd like white. Can we just get some freaking white on? Okay, anyway. The aesthetics are really nice on this guy. Overall, a little bit odd in the proportions department, but it'll be fine. You're not going to care that much about it, or even notice it once you have him posed. So aesthetically speaking, this guy gets a 9 out of 10. I like it. As far as accessories go, this is a weapons set, or option set, or whatever it's called, nano gear, whatever. And so there's a lot. So we have some hands. We'll start off simple. We have 2 fist hands that come on them in the package, 2 karate chop style hands, 2 relaxed hands, and then 2 repulsor hands, which have pegs in them. No repulsor hands without pegs again. Why? You cannot pose these figures doing a repulsor blast pose without a repulsor blast on them. That sucks. Stop. It's not that expensive to make hands without pegs in them. Freaking make the hands, Bandai. I'm sick of that. We can't make repulsor blast hands. It's annoying. We do have some repulsor blasts. We have 2 little ones, 2 medium ones, and 2 kind of big ones, all different styles. You can use them in different places, which makes sense because they go to different places. And now we have a bunch of interchangeable parts. We'll start with the big back plate. We have one big back plate with these 4 dangly bits that hang out, and they are articulated only minimally. They have ball pegs, so you can move them around. Now, you don't need to move them around any more than that, so that's fine. That's not a complaint or a gripe or anything. That is reasonable. Honestly, I don't even think that was necessary, because who gives a crap? Just peg them on there and they're going to stick on his back. But that's fine. They peg on nicely and they look good. They're very well painted, so that's a nice touch. And You have, of course, the plates where when he doesn't have that on. So these are all accessories technically too. These pop off, this pops on. Another thing that goes on his back is this one that makes him look like a shark, which looks really goofy. But yeah, you have this one too, which gives him a dorsal fin, and that pegs onto his back. And there will be photos also to accompany what I'm saying, whether they're here or at the end. I haven't edited yet, so who knows. As for the arms, we can pop the arms off and we get these cannon thingies, which are fine. I miss Iron Man looking like Iron Man, though, honestly. Like, these are cool on their own right. Let's see if I can hold them the right way. There we go. They're cool on their own right, but they're alright. They look like xenomorphs, kinda. His arms look like little xenomorph heads. So we have those. And then we have some interchangeable body pieces. So we have, right here, this piece pops off, and you get... Is it this one? I don't know which one it is. I might have grabbed the wrong one. No, I got the right one. So you can replace that with this. Son of a bitch. Let's do the other side. So you can replace that with this. So his little riblets pop out and you get a little blaster thingy. Then we replace the shoulder pads, and this is kind of a problem. So the shoulder pads, the regular ones, like right here, these guys, they snap on well enough that they don't pop off too easily. In fact, it's kind of stuck now. There we go. These guys, which are cool, and I grabbed the wrong one, this is going swimmingly. These guys peg on, I mean, like they fit, and they look really cool. So you have a blaster up here and mini blasters down here, that's awesome. But they don't really snap. They fit on, so they don't fall off exceptionally easy, but there's nothing holding them on. So if you turn them and give them a little tap, it'll fall off. So, I don't know, maybe throw some sticky tack in there. But we do get one of those for either side, so we're gonna set those aside. Lots of parts in this pack, a very cool set overall. There's still a little bit more though. So we got the chest done, we did the shoulders, and now we have the thigh pieces. So these guys are kind of difficult to get off, which is opposite of the shoulders. These guys pop off coming forward like that, and then you can pop on these thigh pieces, which I think is kind of odd that they did this, because the difference, there goes one of the shoulder pads, I told you they do fall off too easily. The difference in the thigh pieces is minimal. So I don't know why they bothered. There goes another shoulder pad. The regular thigh plate is this, and the one that's the special one is on him. You get these two little nublets on the side right there. That's it. I don't know if they needed to replace the entire thigh plate for that, but they did. And it's fine, like the thigh plates don't have a problem coming off. They stay on when you want them on. So that's good. The knee pads pop off on mine every time I bump them. Luckily, they just peg back on. That's a lot of accessories, but having the shoulder pads pop off too easily is a pain in the ass. Everything else is something I can live with, and they do look really cool when you have all the parts on. So it's a lot of stuff. We're still missing a set of hands. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's still a lot of stuff, and most of it is done really well. Having the shoulder pads pop off sucks, and not having the hands sucks, but I don't think that's enough of a problem to go lower than that. So, let's talk about the articulation, and we'll also count how many times the shoulder pads pop off. The head is one of the better heads we've seen. We did have an issue, which one's a good example? This one's a good example, where they just made giant cavities everywhere. That head is hollow. You probably can't see it. The head's hollow, and there's a big gap everywhere. So that kind of sucked. This one is not that bad. It's kind of hollow because it has to have a neck that fits in it, but ultimately you don't have any huge gapping, and as you can see, he looks up really nicely, he looks down really nicely, leans side to side, no problem at all. Probably the best neck, hey, there's a cat, out of all of them. So that's pretty cool. It's just a double ball peg and another ball peg for the neck, so it moves around. Can I work, please? This is what happens when you guys want cats on videos. They get in the way. Good job, Fluffy. Be a good backdrop. So the neck works really well, probably the best out of all of the ones I've reviewed. We have a ball peg for the arm, which moves around. Shoulder pad came off. There's one. So the ball peg does work. It's like your standard SH Figuarts. It moves the entire arm around. It does have a slip joint in it, so you can move it in and out. It's just not great. It doesn't really have enough range to make a difference. And I pulled on it harder to think maybe, well, it's just stuck and the whole thing came off. So that's not the case. It just doesn't have a ton of range for the slip joint. So, it's okay. Bicep swivel is all right. They did cut the bicep out. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this. You see there's a little bit of a gap at the front and the back. That's so that when you rotate the arm, it goes over the shoulder pad rather than cutting it out, or popping it off, I mean. So I guess that's okay, but it does look kind of lousy from the side, but it's not too big of a deal. Double jointed elbow is probably the best elbow they've done on an Iron Man figure. It's pretty good. It's not great, but it definitely gets the job done, and I'll take it. I'll take it. For the torso, it's a whole bunch of different combinations of things. I'm just going to show you the range because you guys probably don't care what the actual engineering is anyway. For the upper part, you get really good forward and back. You can lift it up, so there is a hinge in there at some point. It doesn't really offer anything but a gap. So I don't know why they bothered doing that, because that's with it extended, leaning forward. If I push it back down and lean it forward, it's still leaning forward, so I don't know that that was absolutely necessary. But there is a ball peg and a hinge in there. You get really good range on the ball peg, and I would argue that that is all you really need. The hinge is there, but I don't know that it's great. In here, there's a floating piece and another ball peg. I don't feel any other hinges, and you don't really get any good range out of it. You get some. Mostly the overall range is on the entire abdominal section. This cut joint, not cut joint, but the cut in here where there's a joint doesn't really offer anything. You get a little bit of extra play, but not really much of anything at all. So that kind of blows. It's mostly just the overall abdominal articulation. And then as far as twisting goes, it'll twist, but I'm almost positive you're going to scratch the shit out of your figure right here. So be very careful when you're posing it. You have to pull out this piece to go over the golden piece if you want it to twist. So yeah, be very, very careful. I don't know why they keep making these so complex when they don't actually offer any good range. That's kind of a bummer. I like that they're trying, but simple is often better in most cases with articulation. For the hips, it's basically what we've seen before. So we have the hinged ball peg, and then we have a ball peg for the socket to peg into the thigh. So you get all this craziness right here, which looks stupid until you actually go to use it. You can actually make this one work exceptionally well. You can raise his leg up without having really any gapping. That's very, very nice. It's also unusual for these Iron Man figures. Going out to the side, really no issue there. That's fine. And you can bring the leg up over it if you need to do like some kind of other pose, but that pops the thigh off and it doesn't look good. So don't do that. You don't really need it. I don't know that they needed all of that because it just works really well. You can bring the leg up nicely out to the side, no problem. Thigh swivel, it works better. It looks like it's going to be a gappy mess, but it's not bad. You can get it pretty much where you want it just by wiggling it a little bit. And look at that. We don't have any huge gaps or anything in the neutral pose either. So I appreciate that. I like that a whole bunch. As for the knee, it's probably the best knee they've done on an SH Figuarts Iron Man figure. It's not great because we still have this part that flares out, which is kind of odd, but it's definitely one of the best looking ones, and you get good range out of that. So I really appreciate that. And then as for the ankles, we have a straight up hinge going forward and back, and then we have a hinge for the ankle rocker, which is functional enough. It's a really skinny ankle though. There's a whole lot of gapping and it makes his ankle look really, really skinny. And I don't love it. And also it has a swivel in there, which you'll never use, but it has it. So it's not the best looking ankle they've provided for us, but it does function well and I'll take it. And then lastly, we have a toe hinge, which is actually pretty sturdy. So ultimately, we have some weird articulation in the torso region, which doesn't really work. The shoulders are fine, they're not great, but the neck is really good, the hips are really good, the knees are really good, the elbows are good. Did I not do the wrists? I think I forgot to do the wrists. The wrists are on standard ball pegs. Very, very basic articulation. You're mostly just going to get a swivel out of them with just a little bit of play. So the articulation in some places isn't great, but in other places it is. I'm going to round it out to an 8 for the articulation. I love that the hips are so much more functional on this release, and that's a really good thing. So final verdict on this guy. It's not the suit I prefer, but it's one of the best figures that they've released of Iron Man so far, so I'm going to say if you're into Iron Man and don't mind the Nano suit, this is probably one you want to look into. It's definitely pricey because it comes with all this stuff, but it does come with all this stuff, so that's a good thing. Overall, well engineered, well painted, well sculpted. Not a whole lot to say that's bad about it. So final verdict is 8 out of 10. It's a really strong release. I'm excited to see the gold version, the gold armed one, which is actually from Endgame, because I think it looks much better than this, and I hope it is a really, really solid figure. I hope it's not just a repaint, but we'll see. We'll see. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to do that because I have thousands of videos already on the channel and new ones coming out just about every single day. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.